I always thought financial abuse meant not being given money for groceries or being forced to account for every single penny. I thought it looked like total control, like poverty, like fear. I didn't know it could look like a fairy tale, like life in a penthouse, like vacations in the Maldives, like a husband saying, "Baby, don't worry your pretty little head about numbers. I'll take care of everything." Mark was exactly that: caring, successful. He was a financial advisor with a spotless reputation and a smile that pensioners and businessmen trusted with their life savings. When we got married, he insisted I quit my marketing job. "Why do you need that stress for pennies?" he said, kissing my temple. "Focus on the house, focus on yourself, paint, do charity work. I'll build our empire." And I agreed. God, how easily I agreed. It was so seductive to shed the weight of responsibility. I gave him everything: passwords to my old accounts, my documents for filing tax deductions, my financial independence. In return, I got a gold card with no limit and a life all my friends envied. For 5 years, I lived in that sweet fog. I didn't know how much our electricity cost. I didn't know how much we paid for the mortgage. I just swiped the card and the terminal beeped approved. The crack in my perfect world appeared on an ordinary Tuesday. Mark was on a business trip in Dubai, another meeting with investors, as he said. I was getting ready for lunch with my sister when the doorbell rang. Standing on the porch wasn't a courier with flowers like I was used to. It was two men in cheap suits holding tablets. "Mrs. Evans?" one of them asked, not looking me in the eye. "We're here regarding the asset repossession." "What assets?" I laughed, nervously, stupidly. "My husband is Mark Evans. All our bills are on autopay." The man sighed, as if he pitied me, or as if he'd seen women like me hundreds of times. "We're taking the Range Rover, ma'am. Lease payments are 6 months overdue. And we need you to clear out the garage. We're taking the second car, too." I stood on the driveway of my gorgeous house and watched my car being loaded onto a tow truck. The neighbor across the street, the one who always admired my garden, watched through her window with her hand over her mouth. I tried calling Mark. Subscriber unavailable. I called the bank. "I'm sorry, we cannot provide that information. You are not the account holder. You only have a supplementary card." "But I'm his wife," I screamed into the phone. "That doesn't matter, ma'am. The account is in the company's name, and you are not listed." At that moment, I didn't yet know that losing the car was the least of my problems. I thought it was a mistake, a system glitch. Mark would come back and fix everything. He always fixed everything. I went back into the empty house. The silence, which used to seem peaceful, now was crushing. I went to Mark's office. He always kept it locked. Client confidentiality, he explained. But today, I didn't give a damn about clients. I found the spare key in his shoe shine kit. He thought I'd never look there because the cleaning lady handled the chores. The office looked perfect: expensive wood, leather chair, shelves of economics books. But I was interested in the safe. I didn't know the code. I tried everything: our wedding date, my birthday, his birthday. Nothing. Then I started opening the desk drawers. In the bottom one, under a stack of blank paper, I found what he had forgotten or hadn't had time to hide. It wasn't a safe. It was an ordinary cardboard folder labeled MISC. I opened it, and my life ended. There were no investment documents inside. There were letters, dozens of letters. Red stamps, final notice, collection notice, lawsuit. But the scariest part wasn't that. The scariest part were the names. A $50,000 loan from Santander Bank in the name of Sarah Evans, my name. An American Express credit card with a $30,000 debt, my name. A loan against my parents' property, signature Sarah Evans. I looked at my signature. It was perfect. Almost perfect. Only the tail on the letter S was slightly more curved than I usually write it. Mark had been forging my signature for years. I started Googling. I typed in the names of the companies the letters came from. They weren't just banks. They were microloans, online casinos, bookies.
My perfect husband, my financial genius, was a gambling addict, and he didn't lose his own money, he lost me. I found the statement for our house. We didn't own it. We were renting it from a shell company Mark used for money laundering, and the rent hadn't been paid in 3 months. An eviction notice lay at the very bottom of the folder. I had 14 days before the sheriff would put me out on the street. I sat on the floor of his office, surrounded by papers, and I was shaking, physically shaking. Nausea rose in my throat. 5 years of my life had been a lie. Every gift, every dinner at a restaurant, every dress, it was all bought on debt in my name. I wasn't just a wife. I was his credit mule, his insurance policy. Suddenly, I remembered a day we signed some documents with a notary 3 years ago. Mark had said then, "It's just a formality, honey, to transfer the insurance on the house." He slid pages in front of me, joked with the notary, rushed me because we're late for dinner. I signed a general power of attorney. I had voluntarily given him the right to control everything. At that moment, the phone rang. It was Mark. "Hey, baby." His voice was as calm and confident as always. "I landed. How was your day?" A cold washed over me, an icy, piercing cold. If I scream now, if I ask about the car, the debts, the signatures, he'll spin it. He'll invent a story about a bank error, about identity theft, about temporary difficulties. He'll make me believe I'm crazy, or worse, he'll run, leaving me with $500,000 in debt. "Everything is fine," I said. My voice sounded foreign, mechanical. "Just tired. The neighbor came over. We chatted."